how to assemble a clarinet like a ninja. The first day you get your clarinet home is really a very exciting day. But before we can get to playing the clarinet, we need to learn a few things about how to put it together safely and efficiently in order to get all the pieces together like this. You'll notice when you get your clarinet home, or it gets delivered to you, it comes in a box about this size. But we don't call it a box, we call it a clarinet case. So we have to take this and fit it inside here. And in order to play it, we've got to get it out. And we've got to get it put together. So follow along. Find a nice safe place for your clarinet case. We need to establish what's right side up. Your clarinet case will have a logo on it of who made it. That always goes on the top. So put that on a chair close to you. So the logo is on top. And open up the case. You'll see that the clarinet comes in 5 pieces. The piece that goes closest to the floor is called the bell. The piece up from that, where we are going to put our right hand, is called the lower joint. The piece that goes on top of that, where we're going to put our left hand, is called the upper joint. Then a small piece called the barrel comes on top of the upper joint. Take a look at that barrel. If you notice, if you look real close, you can see that one end of the barrel is slightly larger than the other. The larger end is the bottom, and that's the part that goes on the upper joint. But don't worry if you don't feel confident that you can see it, because your clarinet will not go together if you try and put the barrel on upside down. But be aware, if you try and put it on upside down, just remember, flip it over. It's going to work out. Let's take a look at the pieces a little bit more closely. The bell looks a little bit like a bell, maybe a lot like a bell. It doesn't have any keys on it, and there is no cork. The lower joint has a cork on the bottom. These corks are what allow the clarinet to be assembled and disassembled relatively easily. The lower joint has a bunch of keys on it, and only one cork. Our upper joint has 2 corks, one on the top, one on the bottom. When we look at it, we can see something, that the bottom cork has a key that comes out over the top of it. That's the part that connects to the lower joint. We're going to look closely at that in just a few minutes. And then the barrel, and like I said before, it has a big end and a small end. And then the mouthpiece, it comes with some things on it. We're going to talk about that in a future video. So look for that, because there's some important things about your mouthpiece that you're going to want to know. That's the part that goes in your mouth. And there is a cork on the bottom of it. The next thing you should pay a lot of attention to is, in your case, there's going to be something labeled cork grease. That cork grease is what allows the corks to be slippery enough to assemble the clarinet. So we're going to take our cork grease. Mine happens to look exactly like a chapstick. Some of them will come in a little box that you pop open, and you put your finger right in the grease. And then you put that grease on the cork. One of the questions that people tend to ask is, how much cork grease do I put on? It's hard to answer that in words. My suggestion to you is to put a little bit of cork grease on. And if your clarinet goes together easily, that's the right amount. If we put too much cork grease on, the cork grease will bunch up and spill out onto the clarinet. And you'll also end up with a bunch of cork grease on your fingers, which will make your fingers very slippery. And the ninja method requires that you do not have slippery fingers when you play the clarinet. So, a little bit of cork grease. If it doesn't seem like enough, add a little bit more. And then a little bit more. But if your clarinet goes together, you have the right amount. So we're going to go ahead and put cork grease on all 4 of the corks. I've got the upper joint in my hand. I'm putting cork grease, just a little bit, on all the corks. And I'm going to take my mouthpiece and I'm going to put some cork grease on that. Our clarinet is all greased up and ready to assemble. Step 1 is to take the bell and the lower joint. We take the end with the cork and the bell, and I want you to twist it back and forth. Until it is all the way on. We now have the bottom of the clarinet together, and that's terrific. Next, we want to take our upper joint. And remember, this upper joint has a key that goes over the cork. This is called the bridge key, and it builds a bridge between the upper joint and the lower joint. So have the lower joint in your hand. Try and put your hand somewhere where there's not a lot of keys, but we do need to have our hand on the lower joint. We're going to take and press this key right here that moves. Find the key that moves that bridge up and down. We want that bridge to be up. This is one of the ways that we can avoid doing any damage to our clarinet as we assemble it. With our finger pressing that key, holding it up, we are going to put our clarinet together. And we're going to line up that key right over this key that's sticking out on the lower joint until it's right there. The next step is to put our barrel on. Remember, look closely, find the bottom of your barrel. Put your hand on the upper joint and go ahead and twist that barrel right on. We're almost there. We're almost there. We've only got one piece left. Our mouthpiece. We're going to hold on right here. We're going to hold on to the barrel and the upper joint. Put it on your leg and twist gently to get that mouthpiece on. And our clarinet is now in one piece. Congratulations. You've taken your first step in your ninja training for the clarinet. Take a look at my next video about how to put your reed on so that we can really get into making some sounds, make some ninja sounds on the clarinet. Thank you for watching. Please keep watching. Join me at woodwindninja.com for more videos. A possibility, if you'd like, of meeting me online and having me go through some of these things and some techniques on how to get going on the clarinet like a ninja. See you soon.